Are they almost done? सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Repeat after me. Om Namaste Ganapataye. Tvameva pratyaksham tattvamasi. Tvameva kevalam kartasi. त्वमेव केवलं धर्तासि। त्वमेव केवलं हर्तासि। त्वमेव सर्वं खल्विदं ब्रह्मासि। त्वं साक्षादात्मासि नित्यम्। ऋतं वच्मि सत्यं वच्मि। So yesterday we saw that you are the creator, you are the sustainer, you are the removal. Tvameva sarvam khalvidam brahmasi. Everything that is an expression of, an expansion of your divine self alone. And then he says in the conclusion, see, if it was just an upasana, this statement would not have been seen. But this statement is seen as a confirmation of a direct experience. He says, though I see you pratyaksha, my aparoksha anubhuti, what is it? Tvam sakshadatmasi nityam, you are verily my own self. As long as there is a difference between the devoted and the devotee, there is a distance, there is a gap. As long as that gap is existing, the experience is not complete in itself. There is a story about Namdev. Sant Namdev, he was so sincere that looking at his sincerity, Lord Vithala used to come and play with him. One day his father was stuck with some job, so he had to go out of the city. So he called his youngest son, Namdevji, and he said, "Hey Nama, I want you to go offer Naivedya to the Lord." So he went, opened the doors. During Naivedya, you close the doors, and then behind the doors. So he says, "Come, eat." He was a 4-5-year-old kid. Now, 4-5-year-old kid, he was given the task of feeding the Lord. Said, "Come here, or else I am not going without feeding you." Now, looking at that sincerity of this young child, Bhagavan used to come and take it from his hands, his own hands, and eat. And sometimes Namdev would feed him directly. And this went on for years together. And during that very time, there were all these great saints. That is called Maharashtra's Bhakti movement. So there were Jnandev, Tukaram, Ekanath, Gaura Kumbhar. Jnandev's, 2 brothers and 1 sister, Sopan, Nivrittinath, and Muktabai. So they were all gathered at the sanctum of Vithoba. They had gathered. Can you imagine all these 14-15 of them together? What must have been the environment then? Amazing. So Muktabai takes a stick, and she was the youngest. So she takes the stick, and then everybody was seated doing some bhajan or kirtan, and she goes on hitting on everybody's head. All these santa. And she starts announcing. First one she hits, "Paka hua hai." Matured. Like, you do the pots testing, whether it is a broken pot or an unbroken pot. Ekdam paka hua hai. And she comes to Namdevji. She hits once. She can't believe what she is hearing. She hits twice. And then again 3rd time. Namdev said, "Enough. No, I am trying to reconfirm. Because we know that the Lord plays with you. But तुम्हारा घड़ा पका नहीं है. And you are not mature yet." And then Gaura Kumbhar also, who was there, he says, "Probably because you don't have a guru to take you beyond what you are experiencing right now. You are still in a step lower than the ultimate. You are playing with the Lord, and the Lord is an object of your experience, and it is not the complete experience of self-realization." So here this Rishi, he says, "Though I see you pratyaksha, but what is my aparokshanubhuti, what is my ultimate experience? That you are the one who is my own self. There is no difference whatsoever. Tvameva sakshad atmasi nityam." You truly, you verily are my own self. And then probably to give a convincing standpoint to Lord Ganesha that he was speaking to, he says, Ritam vachmi, Satyam vachmi. Baba, my experience, I am not making it up. I am not faking this up. Probably the Bombay language, ये फेकता कैकू है, is coming from the fake. Yes. Yeah. So he says, Ritam vachmi. See, technically when you look at these two words, Ritam and Satyam, they seem to mean the same. Ritam means truth. Satyam also means truth. But there is a slight difference. What is that slight difference? Ritam, yat shastra proktam, tat ritam. That which is been given by the authority of the scriptures, as instructed by the scriptures, that truth, that which is validated by the scriptures, that truth is called ritam. Fire burns. So, in most of our experience, is it ritam or satyam? In fact, it is both. That which is validated by the authority on fire as a subject, that still holds true. But it is not just that, my own experience also validates it, satyam eva. So, that which is validated by the scriptures and their authority is called ritam, and that which is validated by my own experience is called satyam. And it is time tested. Now, what is satyam? What is sat? Trikala abadhita vastu sat. That which is undeniably an subjective experience in all three phases of past, present and future. It is a consistent experience. Satyam. Tested by my own subjective experience. And what I am experiencing is exactly what has been told in the scriptures as well. See, in this particular field of spiritual evolution, there is not a thought which has not been spoken of. We may think, so it happens many times, that sitting on this altar, when something is spoken, I feel like, oh wow, this is a new thought, never heard of, never read anywhere. It's like a flash news. Suddenly a new thought has come in. But then couple of months or days later, when I am reading some other book or referring to something, that exact sentence, the exact thing, when you see it repeated, it feels so good. Why? Whatever was the experience which was stated, which is now validated by an authority. So, all that which can be spoken of on this platform of spirituality has already been spoken of. So, it is ritam. But is it satyam? I'll tell you another experience of mine. The first time after getting Brahmachari Diksha, we were just initiated. One of our Tamil Brahmachari, he used to say, we had just had a polished head, meaning, shaven head, and the Diksha Mala, the Rudraksha Mala was given. So he used to say, Motte, Kotte, and Manja Shatte. Motte means shaven head, Kotte means the Rudraksha Mala, and the yellow clothes. So shining, everything was bright. And we were taken to some yatra, Tirtha Yatra immediately. And one of the stops was in Vrindavan, Akhandananji's Sishya, Govindananji. Very senior person, very elderly person. He felt so happy seeing us. 30 of us new initiates. We were FOB, fresh off the batch, not of the boat, fresh off the batch. And evening he usually conducts the satsang, he speaks. He said, today my heart is so full that I have seen these many new initiates. It's a rare occasion that many of them get into it. So I would pick one of them to come and speak their experience. So I don't know why, but I feel that there is something on my forehead written, pick me. Several times it happens that I usually avoid. I sit way at the back in the corner, way away from. Probably that is why I am picked. Tu beta, tu idhar aao. Son, why don't you come here? So I turned around just to confirm or there's somebody else behind me. There's nobody else. So he said, come. I said, what is your experience and understanding of sadhana? Funnily, that was my first topic to speak on when I was asked to speak in the public platform. And that was the exact same question that got repeated. So I said, this time I am not going to fail myself. So I went there, said, 2 minutes, just give me 2 minutes, let me gather my thoughts. And then I sat down, I said, how much time do I have to speak? So he said, acha. Yeah, and you should know, right? I was going from, so I had to know what time was given. So I said, and he thought, okay, that's a good proficient way of dealing it. Speak for 15 minutes. If need be, I'll extend it for another 5 minutes. So 15 minutes I spoke about sadhana as stated in Tattva Bodha, as stated in Adi Shankara's way of thought, then Madhusudana Saraswati's thought, then from the Upanishads, then the Brahma Sutras, Athato Brahma Jignasa, what does Ataha mean and why does it indicate sadhana? And I gave a complete picture of what we had gone through as the Vedanta course. I repeated it. This is called sadhana. And then he said, Bahut acha, very good, go sit. And then he said, when I asked you to speak, what you spoke was ritam eva, validated by the scriptures as the scriptures stated. Good. But where is your self-experience? How long will you keep repeating that this scripture said so, that scripture said so? When will you say that this is my experience, hence therefore I am saying so? And it was a totally different perspective that he brought in. And then his blessings were amazing. He said, today I bless you that whatever you have spoken as Ritam, may it become Satyam. So that is the difference between Ritam and Satyam. That which is textbook oriented, validated by the text, validated by the scriptures is Ritam, and that after having understood, put in practice, when I subjectively come to experience it, that is called Satyam. So here the Rishi says, Ritam Vachmi, my experience is validated by the scriptures and it is also validated by my own subjective experience. And then he says, in utmost humility and devotion, in the third mantra, repeat after me. Avatvam mam avavaktaram avashrotaram avadataram avadhataram avanuchanamavasishyam avapaschattat avapurastat avottaratat avadakshinatat avachordhvatat avadharatat sarvato mam pahi pahi samantat. So in utter devotion, this Rishi of that experience, he says, Avatvam mam. Ava means to protect. Protect tvam mam. In Sanskrit there is no confusion in that. You put the words, mix it in the sentence anywhere, the meaning still remains the same. But in other languages, it changes the entire meaning. Tvam, O Lord, you protect me. Protect me from what? See, the problem is not with the world. Oh Lord, protect me from these problems of this worldliness, protect me from the people, protect me from the things, protect me from these things, that thing. There is nothing there out in the world which is coming to bite us. What is it that we need to be protected? In the highest spiritual sense, I need to be protected from I. I purposefully did not use the word myself. The I. I meaning my own ego. Oh Lord, protect me from my own self. Because intellectually I understand what is the right path. Intellectually I do understand What is the process to evolve from my existing state to a better state? But then, as when I try putting it into practice, कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाता है. Something happens. I fail to achieve that which I am supposed to. We may try all our expertise in trying to blame why I am not able to do it. We may blame it is because of my responsibilities. Swamiji, I would wish I can do this sadhana, I can continue this kind of satsang, but grihasthashram has its own limitations. I said, you don't need to come for a satsang. Wherever you are, can you do at least these 3-4 steps? It starts with an pop of enthusiasm, like a sugar rush. Yes, from tomorrow I should do something good. But that over enthusiasm kills the entire direction. That's why there is one beautiful book by Gurudev called Hasten Slowly. When step by step he says, don't rush in. Whatever you do, do it meticulously, but do it sincerely, do it consistently. It is not the quantity, it is the quality and consistency of that quality which is important. Long time ago, I met Guruji after a long time. After a year's gap or 2 years gap or so, I met him. This is 14-15 years ago. So he took me by surprise. The moment he saw me, I did namaskar, said Hari Om, got up. He asked me, "Tu apna Gayatri mantra padhte ho ki nahi?" Out of the blue, like sudden question. And luckily, just the day before, I had completed a sequence of Gayatri mantra, a count of certain number. So I said, I just finished that yesterday only. It's such a... So he looked at me and he said, these are the exact words. He said, लड्डू 10-15 एक साथ खाने में मजा नहीं है, हर दिन एक एक खाओ तो मजा और होता है. Amazing instructions with simplicity that don't try to gobble up everything. Try to show that sincerity and consistency in that process. When you overdo it, you burn yourself. And then the greatest protection is from my own sense of self-righteousness. See, somebody who is tamasic can be changed. Somebody who is rajasic can be changed. But somebody who already thinks he is perfect cannot be changed. Somebody who is awake, you can seek their attention. Somebody who is fallen asleep, you can wake them up. Somebody who is pretending to sleep, you can never wake them up. See, in the spiritual evolution, the subtlest we get, the harder it becomes to transcend it. And it is it also is a very restless feeling. I'll tell you an example. A car mechanic or a automobile mechanic, when he is in his workshop, the kind of clothes that they wear ensures that they can sit anywhere. They don't need to clean a place, they don't need to dust it off. Probably after they get up, somebody is sitting next after them, they should clean that place. For them, their clothes are so many stains that it doesn't matter where they sit. Though they have that many stains, it doesn't really matter. For somebody who is wearing bright white clothes, and in the pocket you carry a pen which is leaking. Sometimes it happens that you are using those pens which have ink in them. Though it is ball pointed, but it is still that ink, and you have the cap on the other side and you sign and then you put it, and that is oozing out on the entire clothes that you are wearing. It looks white. One stain, it looks so obvious that you cannot manage wearing it until it is cleaned. Until it gets cleaned, it is glaring at you. Similarly, when we have lots of these different patterns of asanas, it doesn't matter. But as we grow subtler and subtler, as the chitta starts becoming purer and purer, there are these one or two traits that still remain lingering, and those disturb a lot. O Lord, protect me from that self-righteousness, protect me from my own complacency. I have done my best, that is what I can do now. है तो है, क्या करे? You keep washing that cloth to remove that stain so many times, you do, and it doesn't go. What to do? पड़ा रहेगा. Oh Lord, let me not become complacent. Protect me from my own complacent behavior. Let me not slack in my effort to reach to that perfection. Avatvam mam avavaktaram. Protect the one who is teaching this knowledge. Why? Poor fellow must be having heart attack after heart attack. He is trying to reach out, teach, and every time there is a question asked. That is why in yajnas I neither ask questions, I neither encourage questions. Because Saturday, Sunday I see it. I ask questions. A gathering of 100, 120 people, they are looking at each other, and then looking into Bhagavad Gita. And it is not something which has been mentioned long time ago, last week. Swamiji, how should it matter? Well, let me make it personal for you. Your own children, you keep telling them to do certain things in certain way, and certain things are non-negotiables. You need to do it, you must do it, that's all. But what is the challenge then? The children find umpteen number of ways. Our own kids. How they can break it or mend it or neglect it. So when you have said it the nth time the same instruction, finally there comes a stage. And what is that stage? stage of utter frustrated situation. How many times do you want me to? Can't you understand? So the little smiles on your face, which is reflecting, shows me that everybody goes through that. Now imagine a teacher to give the same instructions again and again and again, and as if to humor, there are people who come and say, Swami, you are telling the same thing, don't you have something new to say? See, how many ever layers you may try to turn and shift and change, truth is only one. That cannot be changed. The ego and the texture of the ego is one. So the content may, the examples or the references may differ, but still there is only one truth. So please protect the teacher from heartbreak, heartache. Ava vaktaram, ava shrotaram. Protect the listener from what? Ava sotaram. Protect the listener from sleeping. The Shrota aspect in the initial Shanti mantra, we covered it extensively as to what listening means, as to what are the things that obstruct us from listening attentively. We have already taken that in depth, so that you can copy and paste here. Ava shrotaram. Protect the listener, that may he not hear things and miss that which is indicated by the words and get caught up with the words. The words are just pointers. Through these pointers, where you reach is something subtler. Words are a very gross form of expression. Ava shrotaram. Ava dataram. Protect the one who is giving. See, for various things to remain in certain balance, those who have remembered their hardship in reaching where they have reached, when they turn back, throughout humanity we find there is a gesture from those who have made it. When they look back the path that they have made, they want to give back, reach out. See, those who had gone to these Vaishnav Devi, Amarnath and these places, the path and the tracks are so difficult. See, Amarnath, Vaishnav Devi is a beginner's test. Amarnath is the next stage. One of our Swamiji's brahmacharis, he says, visit and you successfully come back, then it is Amarnath. Otherwise it is Marnath. Because that path is really terrible. those who have with devotion made that path, they have gone through that path, after they come back, they feel, we have gone through such treacherous thing, let us make it easy on the next ones coming. So that entire path you will see that there is such a generous act of giving. Those 3 months or 4 months of yatra, at every such point, 3 hours to 4 hours journey, there are 17-18 groups that work in trying to feed all the yatris. When I say feed, it is not sukhi roti and one sukhi sabji. It is like 24 hours they have all snack section, all food section constantly being cooked and served. Sometimes by the time you get through that patch of food service, you literally are fed up. There's so much of food that they offer. Why? These people have made that trek and they have seen that, I know for 18 years ago when first time we went, there was nothing there. And now you go, there is so much being offered. Because they want to give. Probably it is the same reason why we tell our children also. When we were studying, when we were growing up, back in India, when we had nothing of this, we want to protect and save and give you that which we did not have so that you can achieve more than what we had achieved. Why? Because we know what it means at that stage to have these steps. So how should that giver be protected? Various standpoints. We will take a couple of standpoints to understand. The first one, protect the giver from their own anticipation, anxiety of anticipation. A classic example would be the parents giving and providing for their own children. There is nothing wrong in providing for. But when does the frustration reach the heights? When what we are anticipating is not reflected in their actions, in their day-to-day life, in their lifestyle. Correcting them and pushing them to that edge is still our responsibility as parents. But do it without an anticipation. Constantly keep re-educating them again and again. How long? As long as it is your responsibility. When it is time for them to settle and form their own roots and to stand on their own feet, that is when what you have been revisiting and re-insisting again and again takes shape. Until then, without that, getting that frustration, catches constantly to give. And there is other kinds of anticipation. We go to these cultural platforms wherein you are the chief guest. And then you have to present a plaque or a memento or something. And these cameramen they rule as if they own the place. Recently I was at some festival, I don't remember which one. The poor fellows with bhakti were doing the arati. The cameraman has the audacity to tap all four of them, and he says, you know, you're doing arati fine, but turn a little bit towards so that I can get a camera angle. I mean, it is not for you that they are doing, it is for the Lord. You go find an angle wherein you get both. No, I am going to stand here, you are going to turn a little bit for me so that I get a good framework. So these cameramen, sometimes they are very, okay, we have one. So you have given the award and the other person has already taken it, and then comes the cameraman. Give it back. Alright? Sirji, give it once more. Now this time, look into the camera. I have to look into the person that I am giving to. That is natural. No, but now what has become natural is, why? The giver wants the recognition, the one taking wants the recognition, everything. Protect me from that anxiety. Avadhataram, avadhataram. Dhata here means to sustain. Protect that spiritual zeal in me. Sustain that spiritual inquisitiveness. And as Vivekananda ji puts it, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached, which is actually from the Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. Uttishtha jagrata prapyavaran nibodhata. Until then, this enthusiasm, this inspiration has to be kept alive. It may be a slow process of evolution, but it has to be consistent process. We can never sit back, relax and say, I think you have heard that story, right? The rabbit, the bunny and the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. Especially in this kind of spiritual evolution. Go slow, but go firm. Because to maintain that enthusiasm is very, very important. The enthusiasm, if it is born within our own self, then it is sustained for a long time. If it is borrowed from other sources, they cannot be sustained. So I technically use these two words to make that difference. When we listen to something, when we see something really good, it motivates us. I also should do something. But it is a borrowed source, borrowed enthusiasm. How long will it last? For some, as soon as they step out of this hall. For some, as soon as they wear their chappal. For some, as soon as they sit into their car. For some, until the next day morning. For some, the whole week. And that is why here we have in US predominantly most successful module is weekend spirituality. That which can sustain for the week, by that time their weekend they come to recharge. But what is it that keeps it going? That does not need to depend on any external source. It is lit from within and is constantly maintained. That flame, that inspiration is maintained. We do anything based out of our conviction. Whether we do good things or bad things. Again, good and bad is perspective. Whether we good ones or the bad ones, we do it because we have the conviction to do so. And that conviction is born from a certain amount of clarity. So here when it is being prayed, Avadhataram, please sustain. What has to be sustained? That clarity which instills the conviction for sustained effort. So maintain, sustain that clarity in me for what I have started this path for. Many a times, great movements, great efforts start with great enthusiasm. But somewhere down the lane, the moment we forget our goals, as long as we are very clear about the purpose and the goal, there is that inspiration. The moment we forget that, we start slacking in our efforts. That is why Vishnu Purana says it very beautifully. It says, what is the karana for dukkha? Vishnoho vismritihi sarva dukkhasya karanam. Translating that, which would mean that forgetting Vishnu is the reason for all dukkha. If that word Vishnu be understood as the goal of our life, purpose of our life, forgetfulness of that purpose of our life, that goal of our life, leads us to miserable, tormented situations. That constantly has to be maintained. Avadhataram, protect that clarity, clarity of purpose, clarity of vision, clarity of my life and the direction that I am taking. Maintain that clarity. O Lord, protect me from maintaining that clarity in my own heart. Avadhataram, avanuchanam avasishyam. Protect both the teacher and the student. From whom? From each other. Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunaktu, sahavidyankara vavahai, ma vidvishavahai. The same concept. Let there be no grudges between the teacher and the taught. It's a very subtle concept when it comes to a personal level, subjective level, very difficult to understand that concept. There's floods of examples that came into my head, so I paused for a while. See, when there is a doctor, efficient one, depending on the intensity of whatever illness or the pain that the patient is suffering, he or she, the doctor, caters their time, resources and effort. They make that judgment as to who requires that amount of time, that amount of resources invested. If somebody who is in real bad condition, broken bones and just out of the accident coming in, lot of time required. There are too many nuts and bolts to be fixed. Somebody who has just had a cut, all that it requires is one bandage or sutures or whatever done. If this patient compares himself or herself to the other patient and blames, these doctors are partial. That patient goes, give lot of care, love and concern, time. I go, they almost neglect. Not fair. It is not fair for us to even compare. So when the Sishyas come, the most difficult task. That is why I differentiate, I redefine. Around a guru, there are two kinds of people. One category I call them devotees, the other category I call them disciples. Bhakta and Sishya. Now what is the difference? Bhakta tries to possess the master. For them it is like a feather in their hat. I have met these many masters, he also I met. And they want to possess. And sometimes with Gurudev, Guruji, it is so obvious we can see it. See, both these mothers have cooked with such deep interest and love to feed one poor fellow called Swamiji. One person has come and arranged it, the other person comes and makes sure that that which they have cooked has a priority, the rest of it little. Recently when Guruji was there was this one Amma, she came with that very item 4 or 5 times, with a very short interval. So Guruji looked at her and said, very bluntly he said, Amma, मुझे पता है आपने बनाया है बहुत अच्छा है, पर मैं इतना ही खा सकता हूँ. I do understand you made it and that is why you are trying to serve it again and again, but I can eat only so much. I cannot push myself to eat more than this. But believe me, it is good. When I am not eating, it does not mean that it is not good. Both of them are devotees, both want to possess and they want that master to feel and eat and do as they want. But who is a Sishya? The one who has given up that will and is ready to be trained, disciplined according to the tastes, according to the directions of the master. Why do we go to a master? To perfect ourselves. If the focus gets derailed, other than that everything becomes important, then we have become a devotee. If that remains the focus, then we become a Sishya. And one thing to be protected there, that is why in all our satsangs we constantly keep chanting that mantra, Sahana Vavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai. The effort is on both sides. The teacher and the taught have to put effort to come to that sublime understanding. But what stops is, see, first of all, if that guru has partiality or in any such kind of trivialities, then not a guru at all. Very clearly stated. But if there is that purposefulness and the direction given, the Shishya has to protect himself or herself from unnecessary comparisons. Oh, everybody is being given such important task, I have not given such important task. I know of an ashram, there was this Sanskrit master, a school teacher. He left, he was not married or anything, he left his house, his job, everything, came to this master and he looked at him and he said, look, I need somebody to work in the kitchen, not as a cook, but as somebody who can maintain the stocks, maintain that it is clean, it is properly addressed to the maintenance part of the kitchen. So I said, "Theek hai." So when somebody is in a kitchen duty, they cannot attend the rest of the program. It happens in our camps also. So he never had time for attending a satsang or bhajan or nothing. He was as if an insignificant nobody in that ashram. But when that Mahatma was in his last moments, he declares that my next in line would be that Swami who is taking care of the kitchen. Why? Because of that single-minded, focused task that I had given, he had never come back complaining that, what is this, you have put me there, I came here with such a thing, and everybody else is getting bigger roles, I am getting this smaller role. He understood it is not maintaining the role that is important, that which is trying to maintain the role, to annihilate is important, and he has successfully done it. So that is the protection of Shishya and the Guru. Avanuchanam avasishyam. Anuchanam means a teacher. Shishya. And then he says, Lord Ganapati is the one who is the Lord of all directions. This we saw in the very first definition of Ganapati. Hence, therefore, here he says, Ava Paschataat, Ava Purastaat, Avottarattaat, Ava Dakshinattaat. Protect me from all directions, because you are the Lord of all directions. Back in India, somebody gave this, picked one of these lines, and what they interpreted it was very humorous. At least that's what I felt, it was very humorous. Ava Paschataat, protect us from the Western influences. Though that is not what it is meant. You are the Lord of all directions, protect me from all directions, protect me in all directions. Sarvato mam pahi pahi samantat. So technically there are 8 directions, but you add 2 more, up and down. So including all of them. So that's why he says, Sarvato Mam Pahi, from all possible directions, known, unknown, please protect me so that I grow in this spiritual evolution. Sarvato Mam Pahi Pahi Samantat. Then he starts dwelling in to further details, further aspects of Nirgunatva of Ganesh. So he says, repeat after me. Tvam Vangmayastvam Chinmayaha Tvamanandamayastvam Brahmamayaha Tvam Satchidanandadvitiyosi Tvam Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvam Jnanamayo Vijnanamayosi Tvam Vangmayastvam Chinmayaha. Tvam Vangmayaha. See, as much as it is attributed to Saraswati Devi, it is also attributed to Lord Ganesha about the speech. Tvam Vangmayaha. It has two meanings. First meaning, that you are wordy, meaning you are in expressing as every sound that can be made. Every sound that is expressed is your own expression. See, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Pranavaha sarva vedeshu sabdah khe paurusham nushu. Of all the Vedas, you are Pranava. And Lord Ganesha is called Pranava Swarupa. He is the essence of the entire words, which is Omkara. And he is also the expression of every syllable, every word. How can it be so many? There are some good words, there are some bad words. How can he be expressing in all words? But goodness and badness, it changes even with languages. In Malayalam, chor means cooked rice. Any Malayalis here? Talyali is also fine. Talyali is half Tamil, half Malayalam. Chor means cooked rice. In Hindi, chor means a thief. So in one language it means something, in the other language it means something else. The best word was, there was this singer, Ashanti. The reason it caught my attention was that Ashanti, the word. So it intrigued me for a while. Why would you name your child as Ashanti? Even if your child is restless, instead of naming them as Rajasic, you name them Satvik. But why would you name your child as Ashanti? Then I started researching. The Indian or the Hindu reference of Ashanti is lack of peace. But in Swahili is African dialect. In that, an emperor is called Ashanti. So, an emperor means Ashanti, somebody who is the king of everything. In one language it means one thing, the other language it means entirely different. These are all good set of examples. There are various other examples that can be taken. See, these expressions, the meanings that we have given unto them is conditional. But that which is expressing every vibration, every sound, because essentially sound is nothing but vibration. The essence of everything that is vibrating, everything that is throbbing is, O Lord, it is your expression. Tvam Vangmayaha. And this particular mantra, the fourth one, is often given as a diksha, often given as an initiation for people that seek, higher capacities of learning. Tvam Vangmayaha, Tvam Chinmayaha. Chinmayaha, well, I can say, sitting in this hall, you are Gurudev. But that is not the meaning. And that also, because essentially even Gurudev is an expression of Paramatma. But Chinmayaha, what does it mean? Chit Mayaha. You are the embodiment of knowledge. Often, Lord Ganesha is said, Siddhi Buddhi Sameta. And many artists interpret that as Siddhi and Buddhi as his two wives. I tell you, our lack of capacity to imagine whenever we talk about the capacities, the skills, the potential of an individual, it is recognized as that individual's Shakti. Some have a capacity to sing. I claim that I also have the capacity to sing. But what I use it for is a different purpose. In our Balavihar classes, I tell them, शांत हो जाओ वरना मैं गाने लगूंगा. Keep quiet or else I'll start singing. And immediately there is pin drop silence. I still am using it as an asset, not as a liability. So somebody recently who heard my voice inadvertently, one of our own Swamijis, a very senior Swamiji, they said, don't even dare sing in bathroom. I would not permit you torturing yourself. They said, through your threat, all that I can see is your love, Swamiji. I said. He has a very humorous approach to things. So some can sing, some can paint, some can cook, some can eat. Eating is also a skill, Baba. I am not kidding. Whatever comes onto the plate without complaining to eat is a skill. When our houses, when there is Shraddha, this Purohitji used to come. He would come, however, you give them an early, they would come only by 11, 11:30, this is the earliest. And then they would very aram se, set up everything and then start their, by the time they are done with their whole process, 3:34. And we children were like, that day until the priest is fed, nothing. So we are eagerly waiting for him. Arey khatam kar baba. एक श्राद्ध लगाने आया है, बच्चों की जान लेगा क्या अभी? As kids growing up, that is what we would say. That you have come from one shraddha, there will be 2, 3 more waiting if you don't finish it up fast. And this one Panditji who would come, at 3:34 he would finish and then sit for eating, and that would be the heights of our irritation. Every morsel of food that he would eat, he would say, Govinda, 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 and then eat. Aur bas bhi karo, jaldi jaldi khao. And he would relish everything that would be made. Ask for second, third serving, and no problem with that. He said, stop, Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. So in our native language, we would say that, Mem ikkada Govinda. Govinda is used for various references. Govinda also means done, khatam ho gaya. One such time, I don't know what happened, everything was upside down. Salt was more, mirchi, something burned, something happened. This same person ate through the entire thing, did not utter a single word. That it is bad, there's too much salt or too much spice. He ate it. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. And then as he sat down, he had this habit of eating the betel leaf after the food. And as children were being served and we started attacking, and as we ate, he said, inedible. So one of our parents, went and asked him, how did you eat it? So he says, sometimes little bit of excess of salt is good for health. And then he looks at us and says, if it is too much of salt, add more rice to it. We never complain. See, the ability to not complain about whatever we go through in life, to stay in that equanimity, that whatever comes, that also is a skill. That is why I said to eat is also a skill. It's not that easy a task. Everything we'll keep making comments. So each one of us has the different kinds of skills. Don't we have? Do we have only one skill? Or do we have plenty of skills? And if I may add, there are so many other skills which are unexplored. Each one of these gods, when they perfect and express their skills, their Shakti, often it is recognized as his or that deity's divine consorts. What it is essentially is his Shakti. And what is his Shakti? Siddhi and Buddhi. Karya Siddhi. Whatever job that he takes, he accomplishes them. How does that come into picture? The Chinmayaha. He is the embodiment of knowledge. A conscious entity, a conscious being, that in and through every single action being performed, consciously performing it. Tvam Vangmayaha. And whoever has this Vakshuddhi, Vakshuddhi is that one who has the integrity of thought, word and deed, and speaks in a very balanced manner. That is called Vakshuddhi. They achieve something called Vak Siddhi. This is their Vangmaya Tapas. What is a Vak Siddhi? Whatever they start saying, surprisingly it starts happening. Very scary though. Only such people who have that balance will have it. Because sometimes what we end up saying to those who we love, though we don't intend, is very scary when गाली गलौज निकल जाता है ना. The kind of words that we speak also very careful. But they have that balance. Vangmayaha. Chinmayaha. Chinmayaha, conscious existence. Tvam Vangmayaha. You are that conscious expression in and through all my interactions and activities. You are that Chinmayaha. Tvam Vangmayastvam Chinmayaha. Tvam Satchidananda Dvitiyosi. Tvam Anandamaya. Tvam Anandamayastvam Brahmamayaha. Tvam Anandamayaha. Anandamayaha. See, whenever you look at any form of God for that matter, have you ever seen a grumpy God? Ever? I know only about Hindu gods. Even the Bhadrakali Rupa, which is supposed to be a terrible form, have you gone to Dakshineshwar? Though they would call it Dakshineshwar. In Kolkata, where Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to worship. Our eyes are turned upwards and there is a red tongue. But even in that divine form looks so innocent in expression. There is no krurata there. There is no crookedness, there is no terrifying aspect. Even in that form, there is a joyous expression. See, all forms of God, they are Ananda Swarupa. We go to worship Krishna, Rama and all these people with the complaint, oh Lord, why is my life like this? Why is it that they are standing there as a proof. Take Lord Krishna's life. Where did it start? In the prison, in the jail. That is why many of these ministers, when they say, हम जेल थोड़ी ना जा रहा हूं, किशन जन्म स्थान जाके आ रहा हूं. I am not going to prison, I am going to Sri Krishna Janmasthana. He was born in a prison. As soon as he was born, separated from parents. What a traumatic life, okay? Right since he was 3 months old, starting from Putana, till he was 8 years old, killing Kamsa. Constantly there was one after the other disturbance. Constant havoc around him. Can you imagine a child's life 3 months to 8 years old constantly impacted with demons? बेचारी क्या हालत हुई होगी? After having come there, then there was internal feuds, so many different groups within the Yaduvamshis. Had to gather them all up, straighten them up. As they were getting straightened up, Jarasandha, how many times? 17 times attacked. Why did Jarasandha take that so personally? Because Kamsa was his in-law. So he had to take care of the what do you call? Pratikar. He had to take his revenge 17 times. By this time he had to change, shift. So he got a permanent residency, not an alien, permanent residency in Gujarat. So gave him a green card. So he shifted to Gujarat. And as soon as he shifted to Gujarat, his constant travel between Gujarat and Hastinapur increased. If he had frequent flyer miles, constantly going up and down. Anything happening, Krishna, please come help. Was there a single moment in his life wherein he could rest at peace and say, ha, kya majedar moment hai? Never ever. His 125 years lifespan, starting point till the end point, moment to moment happening. In spite of all of that, did he ever have any frustration on his face? Anywhere Bhagavan Krishna is portrayed, there is no frustration. And if I may add, 16,008 wives, still had a smile. The point there to take home is, happiness is not a dependable variable on the experiences that we go through. It is in spite of them. We have been conditioned to imagine and think that I am unhappy because of my experiences. Experiences are external, happiness is internal, they both do not have any connecting link. Bhagavad Gita also states that very clearly. Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana. It does not depend on the result of your action. That state which depends on it leads to anxiety, fear and frustration. Happiness is independent of that. And with their life, with their expression, Tvam Anandamaya, constantly exuberant the only joy. And the one who has plenty, abundance of that joy can alone give joy to others. Don't answer this question. What do we have in abundance? Pause, think. Consciously or unconsciously, whatever we have in abundance, that is what we are contributing to this society around us. Tvam Anandamaya. You are the very expression of Ananda. That's why different forms of Ganesha that we look at, they constantly talk about Ananda Ganapati, Ananda Nritya Ganapati. Ananda is one of his names. Why? See, sometimes I feel when we are given names, when we change our sannyasa, diksha, probably there are two reasons why those names are given. One, you are already that, hence therefore that Ananda. The second reason, at least now that we have changed your name to Ananda, show sometimes Ananda on your face. See, Ananda has got nothing to do with the outside activity. That day when we are completely convinced of it, 90% of our stress is gone. Now there is nothing to blame. Such Ananda, uncorrupted Ananda, is your form of being. Tvam Anandamaya. Why? Because that is the nature of Brahman. Shuddha Brahma Tattva. And what is that Shuddha Brahma Tattva? Satchidananda Dvitiyosi. A very beautiful sequence there. That we will see tomorrow, same time here. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.